Coming up on JetLife, Braxton Berrios sits down to answer your questions on this week's Twitter Talk. Mark Sanchez and Nick Mangold sit down with Broadway Joe himself on the exchange, and I go on a brisk 40-yard stroll with Dan Feeney. That and much more coming right up.
And we welcome you to a new season of New York Jets football. Fires one up the seam, and he's got a connection. At the goal line, the push into the end zone. Yes, that's a Jet touchdown.
Jets fans, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the BetMGM studios for another edition of JetLife. We're winding down to the end of the season here, but we got to keep up the energy. Let's hear from Braxton Berrios because he's doing it all out there every Sunday. Kick returning, trick plays, rushing the football, and now you can say that he's answering your Twitter questions.
What's going on? I'm Braxton Berrios, and this is Jets Twitter Talk. I just learned he's Puerto Rican. Is he fluent in Spanish? Sadly, I'm not. I did take it in school, so I can get through a conversation, and I can read it better than I can speak it. But that did not get passed down fully to me. Who's my favorite rapper? I'm gonna have to go with Drake. He's so versatile. He's a rapper, R&B singer, and kind of everything between. Definitely Drake. How did Soul Saturdays start? What is it? Soul Saturdays started when I was listening to old school and R&B song on a Saturday coming into the facility, and I made it up, and then I tagged people who I knew liked old school R&B, and that's how it became a thing. So that's all it is. It's you listen to old school R&B, mainly from like the 80s to like the early 2000s, I guess, and you can go further back if you want. But on Saturdays, and that's Soul Saturdays. Power rank the Chick-fil-A sauces. All right, so I feel pretty passionately about this one. Number one, not even close, Polynesian sauce. It's unlike anything else in any other restaurant. Polynesian 1, Chick-fil-A sauce is 2, and then it's kind of like a steep drop off from there to me. I'm not a big buffalo sauce fan. The ranch is all right, honey mustard, so it's really like Polynesian, Chick-fil-A, and then like everything else. Would you give up coffee for the rest of your life if you could receive an A in the one class you got a B? No shot, because no shot. I like coffee way too much. Everything ended the way it was supposed to as far as academics, I guess. And I couldn't give up coffee for that. Beautiful. See?
So quarterback Mark Sanchez, center Nick Mangold, they're back with episode 2 of The Exchange, and they had a very familiar face to you Jets fans. Here's a snippet of their chat with Joe Namath.
Welcome into The Exchange with yours truly, Nick Mangold, and my co-host, unfortunately, Mark Sanchez. Coming up is our interview with Joe Namath. He was a fantastic guest. He's an amazing quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback for the New York Jets. Let's check out and see what Joe had to chat with me and Mark.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, man, I've been a fan of yours and Nick's since you guys started out with the team, so thanks for having me.
So take me back to your draft experience and why you chose the Jets and what that was what that was all about.
I was lucky. Had a great high school coach, had a great college coach, and after we had played Auburn the last game of the season, Coach Bryant came over to me in the locker room, and I was actually taking Steve Sloan's, our quarterback's shoes off because he hurt his knee. And I'm down there messing around with his shoe, and Coach Bryant came over and said, "Joe," I looked up, "Yes, sir." He said, "Those pro scouts, they're going to be coming around talking about money." He said, "You got any idea what you're going to ask for?" And no, sir, I don't know. Don Trull was a year ahead. I said, he signed, I think, for $100,000 or something. So I was thinking about asking for something like that. He said, well, he took a draw off that big old Chesterfield he was smoking, or Pall Mall, whatever. You go ahead and ask him for $200,000. That's a better place to start. And,
It sound like you guys were like the second class league and you had something to prove. Is that what in Super Bowl III or the week prior to Super Bowl III. Is that what led to the guarantee? Because you're in that press conference, and I've heard you talk about this before, but they're just, berating you with these questions about, well, what about the Colts? And what about Johnny U? And what about the NFL? And they're better. And you finally just came out and guaranteed a victory. Is that what kind of led to it, more than just the questioning that week? Everything before that?
I had heard enough at that time. I did have a little bit of libation or whatever that the guy was a wise guy. And when he said that, I told him, I got news for you. We're gonna win the game, I guarantee you. The language was a little different. There was some yeah, he brought it out. If that guy didn't open his mouth and say that, I probably would have never said that.
We want to thank Joe Namath and our sponsors. So much fun today, but don't forget, as listeners, be sure to rate, review, and follow us. Listen to us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
Welcome to In the Pocket, presented by Jack Pocket, New Jersey's first lottery app. I'm Vinny Testaverde, and joining me on the show today is former Jets offensive lineman Jason Fabini. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Vinny.
So you're drafted in the 4th round by the Jets in '98 by Bill Parcells. Most of the guys I talk to on the show have a Parcells story. You have a favorite memory or a story you can share with us?
Oh, without a doubt. I think, there's many, but I remember my rookie year, we were playing the Baltimore Ravens in a preseason game. I ended up getting the start, and they had a good defensive end. I think Peter Boulware was the defensive end, and I thought I did pretty well. So after, the next day, the next day I'm in the weight room, and coach is always milling around in the weight room. He had a one-liner. He goes, "What are you lifting, feathers, Fabini?" And I kind of laughed a little bit, and he goes, "How do you think you did?" I go, there's some things I need to work on, but I thought I did pretty well. And he goes, and then I go to coach. I go, "Well, how do you think I did?" He goes, "Not bad." And for me, I was like, God, not bad. I wanted good, okay. Or I was thinking to myself, 48 hours. I'm like, what does not bad mean? And so now I coach high school football. Whenever a kid asks me, "Hey, coach, how'd I do?" I always go, "Not bad."
What was the best gift that I bought you guys?
Well, you know what, Vinny? I'm wearing it actually. It was my rookie season. He bought the line some Rolexes, and I'm 23 years old. And I'm like, I don't even think I knew what a Rolex was. I remember the little box sitting under our chair, the green Rolex box, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, a Rolex!" I was like, I was wearing a Timex back then, Vinny. But that was a great gift. You gave us many great gifts. I remember he'd be player of the week. We'd come in, there'd be like a stereo or bottle of champagne or cigars. It was awesome. I'm telling you, you did it right, Vinny.
Jason, I just can't thank you enough for coming on today for another episode of In the Pocket, presented by Jack Pocket.
Welcome back to JetLife right here in the BetMGM studios. Last weekend, the Jets hosted the Jags. It's time for Top Moment of the Week. Coming in at number 3, Braxton Berrios, a 102-yard kickoff return. He sees the crease, he hits the hole, and he's gone. Adios, amigo. Berrios with the house call. 102 yards. He now leads the league in kickoff return average with 30.7. Coming in at number 2, how about Zach Wilson's 52-yard run that went for 6. Look at the green grass here. He puts on the gas. He tiptoes the sideline right here, and then he makes a little shake and bake right before getting in the end zone. Nice block, Keelan Cole. Got to give a shout out there. And, of course, the celebration. How do you not get juiced up? This was the longest run by a Jets quarterback in franchise history. And then coming in at number 1, is this really a surprise? The big man touchdown, as Jeff Schwartz said, the thick 6. This is Connor McDermott bringing in the goods here. I know it was New Year's last night. There was no dropping the ball here. Zach Wilson's favorite play of his career right here. Look at the soft hands from McDermott, the celebration, the dog pile. How can this not be your top moment of the week? But before we head to the break, put your thinking caps on, because here's this week's trivia question. In 1985, how many points did the Jets score against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, setting a team record for most points scored in a single game? We'll have the answer when we come back. Jets fans, welcome back to JetLife here in the BetMGM studio. If you're just joining us, it's all right, fashionably late, I understand it. Here's this week's trivia question. In 1985, how many points did the Jets score against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, setting the team record for most points scored in a single game? The answer? 62 points. Ken O'Brien had 5 touchdowns. Mickey Schuler had 3 of those 5 touchdowns. If fantasy football existed back then, you probably would have won your matchup, and that is your trivia question of the week.
The middle touchdown to Mickey Schuler. O'Brien on 2nd and 8, and he throws it into the end zone for the touchdown. O'Brien looking to the 5, a good diving grab by Schuler, and he dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Mickey Schuler with a great effort.
It was a blast being able to visit London earlier this season and connect with the UK fans. And some of you may already know this. There's going to be a lot more of that in the near future as the team was recently awarded the marketing rights to the United Kingdom. So stay tuned, Jets fans, because a lot more action is coming your way. So here's a look in this week's One Jets Drive Wheels Up, presented by JetBlue.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Sing victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign o'er us. God save the
And before we head to the break, let's hear from senior reporter Eric Allen as he dives deeper into the numbers in this week's Next Gen Stats.
The Jets celebrated the holiday season with a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars last Sunday, and they were helped by 2 incredible runs by quarterback Zach Wilson and multi-purpose threat Braxton Berrios.
Wilson eludes the rush. He's going to take off. He's got plenty of running room, and he's going to scamper for a big game. 30, 25, still in bounds at the 20, makes a miss at the 10. He could go. Wilson dives. Touchdown.
Late in the first quarter, the Jets faced a 3rd and 5 close to midfield. Lined up in 12 personnel against the Jaguars' nickel defense, Wilson was in shotgun with the bunch formation to his right. The Jags blitzed with 6 rushers, and Wilson initially stepped up in the pocket and evaded a would-be sack. Then he took off up the home sideline before beating safety Ruby Ford's angle inside the 30, and then he made fellow safety Andrew Wingard look silly on a move to the inside at the 14 before reaching the end zone, while becoming just the 4th rookie quarterback since 1950 with a touchdown run of 50 yards or more. Wilson's score was the longest run by Jets quarterback in franchise history, and it was his 4th rush touchdown in 5 games. Wilson's top speed of 19.19 miles per hour was the fastest he's run to date, and the play resulted in 38 yards over the expected outcome. Is Braxton Berrios quick? Yes. But is he fast? We think the Pro Bowl alternate provided the final answer last week. On his 102-yard kickoff return score, Berrios' max speed of nearly 21 miles per hour was the 2nd fastest sprint in the National Football League for Week 16 and 3rd fastest this season for the Jets. The 107 yards that Berrios covered was the most by any Jets player this season. It was history in the making as Wilson's 52-yard touchdown run and Berrios' 102-yard kickoff return marked the first time the Jets had a 50-plus yard run and a 100-plus yard return in the same game. And that's something to feel good about this holiday season.
Welcome back to Jet Life. It's time for Opponent Talk. My name is Caroline Hendershot, and I'm here with Tampa Bay Buccaneers senior writer Carmen Vitale. Carmen, we are coming up on week 17 of the NFL season already, which is very crazy. This season has felt like it's flown by. Now, the Bucs only have 2 games left on their schedule, the Jets and the Panthers, who they just finished playing. Should we expect them to maybe pull back on the reins at all because they just clinched the NFC South title?
Well, yeah, this is a different position that the Bucks have been in. Last season, they entered the playoff race as a wild card team. It was Tom Brady's first time ever as a wild card team in the playoffs, which is really crazy to think about given how many times he's been there. But now that they've locked up the division, you're playing for seeding, and you're not exactly in control of your own fate when it comes to that. Obviously, you need the Packers to lose. And now you've got the Cowboys coming in on this surge in the NFC. And so at this point, I don't know how much emphasis you place on seeding, just because you don't really think that you might be able to get the 1 seed after all. So if you can get some guys some rest, maybe that's the case. But at the same time, I don't know that these guys want to go quietly into the postseason. They want to kind of build up that momentum and continue it as they enter into the playoffs.
Now, speaking of injury, you just recently found out Shaq Barrett not playing this upcoming Sunday and possibly until the playoffs start for the Bucks. How big of a hit is that going to be for the defense?
Yeah, this defense has had to deal with a lot of injuries all season long, mostly to the secondary kind of in the beginning of the season, and now lately into the front seven. It's nothing new for this defense to just kind of have to retool and adjust, because that's what they've been doing all year. And luckily for us, our defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, who Jets fans are very familiar with, is one of the best at making those adjustments.
And one big name, of course, we can't ignore, Tom Brady, veteran QB, MVP, of course, reigning Super Bowl champion. Now, it might sound a little bit silly, but he is playing at an MVP caliber again this season. And do you think that there is something other than scheme familiarity that's made him just that much more effective this season?
I mean, I think that has a ton to do with it. And then the chemistry that he's had with his players, and the fact that you have had now some of your offensive weapons go down and guys that you had built these relationships and all this chemistry with. And you're kind of having to mix and match guys that you're not used to throwing to. But I mean, at the end of the day, Tom is leading the league in passing yards. He's leading the league in touchdowns. And I just think it's because he knows exactly what he's looking at pretty much against any opponent. And this week is going to be the same, that he's dealt with for 20 years when he was a member of the AFC East. He's very familiar, obviously, with the Jets as an opponent. So we'll see how that plays out.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time, Carmen. We look forward to seeing you and the Bucks at MetLife this Sunday.
Thanks for having me.
All right, when Dan Feeney signed with the team in March, he became, I think, a Jets fan favorite between the mullet, the mustache, chugging beers at the Islanders game. Then he started at left guard against the Jaguars in Week 16, and I caught up with him for a 40-yard stroll. Welcome to another 40-yard stroll presented by the New Jersey Lottery. Dan, Ethan, you ready to go?
Yeah, man, you?
Yeah, I'm ready. I got the warm. You like, hey, are you warm right now?
Yeah, I'm good. I got a little turtleneck on today, so
That's a
little nippy. So I figured I'd put that on.
How do we feel about turtleneck outside of football? Like if you're just going out?
Oh, like the Rock look?
Yeah, sure.
I think some people can rock it, some people can't. My man George Fan, he can definitely rock it.
Oh, he's a turtleneck guy?
I've seen him in it. It's pretty good now. It's pretty good.
but you got to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, you can't just be willy-nilly.
So you
throwing
pull
the
off,
turtleneck around.
But you pull off the mullet. Who else
Right.
on the team could pull it off? Is there anybody?
I'd say probably Gov could.
Okay,
Big
yeah.
country boy, I think he could rock it too.
Yeah. Well, what about that guy right there, the French guy?
Frenchie? I don't know. I don't know if they have those up there in Canada.
He can do the stash.
Of course they do.
He can do the stash, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
What's like, I don't want to say fashion or something. What's something that you haven't pulled off yet, but you're thinking about it? Like, we got the mullet, we got the stash. What's next?
Can't tell you guys.
Fair. We're at the goal line here. Shout out to Quick Draw. Tell me about an epic win in your life.
An epic win?
Yeah.
Shoot. Epic win in my life. Probably be just the Islanders game, man. That was so awesome. Heading out there, getting a lot of love from New York, just having fun, watching hockey, and just kind of caught me in my element. And
yeah.
Thought that was pretty good.
Well, that's the Feeney element right there.
Yeah,
You nice on skates?
No, not at all.
All right,
I wish I
you
was.
Go. But you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I watch them. I appreciate them by chugging beer.
All right, that sounds like a good time. So, all right, that was 40-yard stroll presented by the New Jersey Lottery. Dan, appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right here in the BetMGM studios for the second to last episode of JetLife, the first in 2022. We'll see you for the season finale next week.